I'm back and better than ever. Welcome to Hot Takes, guys. If you're new to this channel or new to the concept of hot takes, what I do here is after Raw and SmackDown and PL leaks, I'll post in the community tabs on this channel and say something like, hey, hot takes. Let me hear them. And then under that post, you can respond with your hot takes, and in a video the very next day. Amazon Prime, baby. I will try to react to as many of them as possible. So before we get into this week's hot takes, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, join the family. Let's get into it. Anyone else feeling a bit burnt out on pull-apart brawls? WWE seems to be doing too many of them lately. Okay, I agree, and I kind of don't share the same sentiments, but what I do agree on, and we have seen a lot of these pull-apart brawls. I feel like every Raw and every SmackDown, we get at least one or two every single week. We just saw what happened on Raw. Seth Rollins and CM Punk, pull-apart brawl. Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn, pull-apart brawl. Kairi Sane and PFC, it really wasn't a pull-apart brawl, but they had to pull apart Kairi Sane's hands from the chest that they smashed their fingers in. Pull-apart brawl. So we have been getting a lot of them, but I don't share the feeling of getting burnt out by it, and I'm sure you know this already, but for people who don't know, when it comes to professional wrestling, the only way that they can non-verbally convey that a feud has gotten to the point where both individuals really hate each other, or one person hates the other one, is for them to brawl outside of the match, because they can't wait until the match happens. They gotta give this man the two-piece right now, and when they have to pull it apart, they have to do that, right? This is not the NHL. They can't give them time to brawl, and for time reasonings within the show, they got to put it into it. They can't just let the guys fight over and over and over. Seth really wants to dig into Punk's skin. He should take a shot that CM Punk leaving basically destroyed his wife's wrestling career. Oh my God. Punk will annihilate him. Yeah, that will be crazy. Honestly, you know what? I think we're gonna get that at some point. We're just right at the beginning of the feud, but with CM Punk and Seth Rollins being two of the most pettiest people in WWE, I can see it getting to this point. But because we're in the beginning of the feud, we're gonna get little, you know, tit for tat here and there. We got a small sample size of where they can go on Raw when Seth Rollins said he got more WrestleMania main events than CM Punk, and CM Punk tried to little brother Seth Rollins. But I think it's going to snowball up to the conversation of this, and I think this is where it's going to get really personal and really crazy. I'm looking forward to this. Thank God, worst tag team champions of all time no longer are champion. Yes. Okay, I agree with your sentiment. I am happy that JD and Finn lost the tag team championships. You know what I said in my Raw review. I ranted about it in other videos, so I'm not going to do that again. But I can't agree with the fact that they are the worst tag team champions of all time. I think that's a bit hyperbolic, because for me, I can't say that in all honesty. Seeing all the tag team champions I've seen over time, people like the Techno Team 2000 or the Legion of Doom 2.0, or we're talking about Men on a Mission. I mean, there's so many, the Harris Brothers, there's so many tag teams that we can consider as maybe the worst tag team champions of all time before we even get to JD McDonough and Finn Balor. But again, thank you for your hot take. Bo Dallas and the YS6 isn't working out as good as WWE and everyone thought. They had a good segment when they attacked Chad Gable, but it isn't working out as good as we thought. So I appreciate your opinion on this, but I feel like when it comes to the YS6, you know, it's very subjective. You'll see people say it's pretty good. You'll see people say that they really hate it, and there's people somewhere in the middle. The part that stood out to me about your hot take is that you compare it to when they attacked Chad Gable. And if you're comparing whatever they do based upon that one segment, you're going to always be disappointed. Because when the YS6 debuted, it was a cinematic masterpiece. So you're not going to be able to replicate that moment over and over. You're probably not even going to be able to top it. You're not going to be able to garner the emotions that came from that moment as well. So if you're expecting that to happen over and over and over, or something from that over and over, then you're just going to be disappointed every time. Now, I will agree that it's slightly underwhelming, and what they did with Chad Gable was kind of weird. You know, having all that happen and Chad Gable still being this bad person after the fact, it makes you question, like, okay, why was the YS6 after them? You know, if this person came out of the situation with them and turned out to be the exact same person, maybe even worse to a degree than what they were before, with a more powerful faction, what was the point of all of it? What was the point of that whole situation? They could have had him face Otis and finish out that whole thing, but they didn't do it. So Right now, with them tying up with the Final Testament, I think this is the best thing that could happen to both of them, especially with Karrion Kross. You know, the whole character work he got going on in the back and forth between him and The Miz is fantastic right now. It's very underrated. And I think that's going to do wonders for both sides. And I think when we get to that point where the Wyatt Six is actually going to be a lot more entertaining than where they are now, I think we're got to give it a little bit more time. I know people always say, let Triple H cook, and I know everyone hates hearing that, but I think they got something figured out. They haven't got there yet, but I can see the ingredients in this feud mixing to make the Wyatt Six and the Final Testament a lot more interesting than they were the past couple of weeks. But again, guys, thank you so much for your comment. I'm not trying to bash you for it, but I appreciate you for that. Triple H to bring back 416-pound WWE superstar Omos as his enforcer to deal with Kevin Owens. Okay, I see where you're going with this. I see. But I can't see them doing that because within the story and even in general, Triple H has enough security to deal with Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens isn't in pursuit of Triple H. So I can't see why Triple H would bring back Omos to go against Kevin Owens, and we're right around the corner from WrestleMania. So I think the focus should be Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. So to throw Omos in that situation would just kind of, you know, convolute and complicate these things. But I do see one person recruiting Omos, and that could be Carmelo Hayes to help him deal with Braun Strowman, right? Because there's no way Braun Strowman is going to lose to Carmelo Hayes as of lately, because they're booking Braun Strowman as they did when he debuted as a singles competitor, where he would have these handicap matches like 1-on-2, 1-on-3, 1-on-4, where he'll beat all the local competitors, stack them on top of each other, and pin them. So it looks like they're going back to him being that way, or the time that he had that feud between him and Roman Reigns, but he hasn't got to that point where he says, I'm not through with you yet. But at the end of the day, I can't see them doing it. If they do it, it will be kind of a head scratcher, but you know what? Maybe Triple H knows what he's doing. I want to see a full babyface Gunther. So what do you mean by full babyface? Are we talking about a goody two-shoes Gunther where he's shaking hands and kissing babies? Because if that's the case, I don't want to see that. But if you're talking about a full babyface Gunther, right, that has a bit of an edge to him, I would love that. Because it seems like they're kind of hinting at that. We've seen things where he's doing things the honorable way. Even the way he's cutting promos, he doesn't seem like he's really trying to cut down people in the promos. He's just going after them in probably the most tweener to babyface way, like he did against Finn Balor. So it seems like that's the way that they're going to go eventually anyways. And if they do, that'll be great because that can set up opportunities like a Gunther versus Seth Rollins match, because we all see Seth Rollins, he's eventually going to turn heel. And that match is going to be fantastic, bro. Fantastic. It's one of my matches I really want to see in 2025. It's going to be so good. But yeah, I agree with you if you're not talking about the goody two-shoes one. Drew McIntyre is the greatest heel in the business, period. Okay, I would agree with you. I don't know what's going on in AEW, so some people from over there might disagree. But as far as within the context of WWE, I will say yeah. And the funny part is, last year, I said on this channel that Drew McIntyre was the best version of Drew McIntyre that I've ever seen, but I feel like it's this year. I don't know how he finds a way to top it every single time, but it's so good. But yeah, I agree. He got to be the best heel, at least in WWE, if not in the entire business of pro wrestling. All right, guys, that's all the hot takes I have for this week. So if you want to join in on the next video, be sure to check the community tab. After SmackDown this week, I will post something and say, what are your SmackDown hot takes? You can reply to that post, and then I'll try to react to as many as I can in the next video that will come out that Saturday. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Salute, peace, have a good day.